Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Andy Field. I'm the Interim Director of the Parks and Recreation Department for the City of San Diego, and I welcome you today to Gershwin Park. And our soon-to-be-opened new Jennifer Jones Nature Exploration Area. So I know that there's a little bit of speaking that stands between all of us talking and you guys getting out there and playing on this new playground area. So before we get started with playing, let's first begin with a Pledge of Allegiance. I'll invite one of you, put your hands up. How about this young lady in the pink? Why don't you come on up and let's all rise and we will join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
That's all. That's all. That's all.
Say it in the microphone.
No.
Nope.
Okay, ready?
Loud, clear voice.
You can do it now.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whitman Elementary, you may go ahead and take a seat. You guys did a great job. All right, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you. Oh, am I off? Okay. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our council member for District 6, Chris Cate, a champion for parks and one of the people that pushed the initiative to get this nature exploration area created. So let's join in a warm round of applause for our council member, Chris Cate.
Thank you, Andy. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I love that. We're gathered here today to cut the ribbon at the Jennifer Jones Memorial Nature Exploration Area. This nature center is the first one of its kind in District 6 and only the second one citywide. Both Council District 2 and my council district, District 6, allocated the funding for the construction of the Jennifer Jones Memorial Nature Exploration Area. The Nature Exploration Area will honor the memory of Jennifer Jones while providing opportunities for children to safely explore in natural environments and connect with the nature in Clairemont. Jennifer was an environmentalist and educator and spearheaded this project for Clairemont. Studies have shown that kids that spend time in nature have higher test scores, improved health, and a respect for nature. Imaginations will run wild at the Jennifer Jones Memorial Nature Exploration Area. Kids can build forts, they can hop from tree stump to tree stump, and they can just be kids. A special thank you to city staff for working so diligently to make this dream become a reality. Thank you.
To help promote our parks and recreation throughout Clairemont, we do need to have volunteers from the community. And one of the lead volunteers here in Clairemont is Miss Judy Pedix. Judy, I'd like to invite you up to say a few words.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. I actually wrote something today because I'm a little emotional and I see some emotional faces out there too. When plans for the Jennifer Jones Nature Play Area were brought to the Greater North Clairemont Recreation Advisory Group for approval, I could hardly contain myself. And today, seeing those plans come to fruition in such a marvelous way, it's just delightful, and I can't wait for school to get out today. My 6-year-old and all his friends are going to love this place, just like all of you. I see not just a few familiar faces out here. I see a lot of familiar faces. All of my students from Whitman, and yes, I'm Farmer Judy, the garden teacher at several schools in Clairemont. And I'd like to quickly speak to the importance that this nature play area has for our children. If you haven't read Richard Loeb's book, Last Child in the Woods, He writes about this generation of kids experiencing what has been coined nature deficiency disorder. And though we are fortunate in Clairemont to have beautiful natural spaces right here, like our canyons, and the ocean and mountains are just a hop, skip, and a jump away, many children today are not getting out there. They aren't playing in these canyons like I did growing up here. They're not getting outside into nature. And when they are outside, they often don't know what to do. It's been reported that outside of school time, except for the schools that I work in, of course, Principal Romero, kids spend an estimated, and this is shocking when I read this statement, or when I read this fact, an estimated 4 to 7 unstructured play minutes outdoors per day. That's what kids get, which glaringly contrasts with an estimate of about 7 hours a day in front of a screen. So as a teacher with an outdoor classroom who often has to remind kids that it is okay to get your hands dirty, it is okay to catch that grasshopper, or you can figure out a way to prop up that floppy tomato plant with those sticks you just found in the garden. I'm so thankful for this jewel behind me here. It's going to help our kids to build confidence, resilience, that buzzword grit, imagination, appreciation, and stewardship in and for our natural world. On behalf of the North Clairemont Advisory Group, thank you to everyone who made this a reality. To the City Parks and Rec team for all their hard work putting finishing touches on it up until yesterday, I understand. To Councilman Chris Cate and to former Councilman Lori Zapp for contributing funds and support with a green light from the get-go to make this project happen. And we are all indebted to Jennifer's family and their friends who persevered to build what Jennifer envisioned, not just for her kids, but for all the kids of Clairemont and for San Diego. This is a perfect example of what can be accomplished to add thoughtful, meaningful spaces to our neighborhood when community members and city offices work closely together. So thanks for everyone for their part in this.
Thank you, Farmer Judy. In addition to the nature play or nature exploration area that we're opening up today, this is also a memorial site. It's a location that is very important and in the memory of Jennifer Jones and her vision of seeing this area transformed as it is today. To say a few words about that, I'd like to invite her husband, Scott, to the podium. Or Simon, excuse me. Simon to the podium.
Good morning. You know, I just thought of something that I didn't write down, is that when Jennifer and I were looking for a place to buy in the neighborhood, we pulled up at this house right across the street, and as soon as we pulled up, I knew that was a house we were going to buy because of this park. So I just kind of had remembered that. You know, like we'd made the decision to buy the house before we even looked inside of it because of where it was. So anyway, thank you everyone for coming here today. I'd like to thank Council Member Chris Cate and all the city staff and all the community groups and especially the City of San Diego. I'd like to recognize the progressive nature of the park and that the city is accepting like some liability in what's going on here. And I'm glad that the orange fence went down because that was actually the most dangerous part of the park. It just came down last night. And especially Shamli Tarabell for the beautiful design and her crew that did all the hard work. And all of our neighbors and all of Jennifer's friends. The truth is, I didn't even know that this park, you know, was an idea. I vaguely remember Jennifer talking about it after she'd been to the one at Morley Field. And unbeknownst to me, Jennifer had started a petition, and on her passing, some of her friends and our neighbors kind of continued on the effort to see the park to completion. So it's a testament to like her vision that this happened. Jennifer had a very positive, like pragmatic view of what could happen at with local government. It's not the first thing that she got done. The nature exploration area embodies like her values of the betterment and nurturing of children. In this case, building confidence and exploring nature. So our family is very grateful to have this park dedicated to Jennifer, and especially to have it like right here in our neighborhood across from our house. So I can't imagine a more fitting memorial to her. So my kids, Maya and Hugo, to be truthful, were quite nervous and skeptical about the park, especially having their mother's name associated with it. But the other day, about a week ago, I was over here with Maya, so right at sunset, and it's very quiet, no one was here, and we're just sitting on one of the logs, and Maya was just, it was the first time she'd been over here. And she looked around, and she took it all in, and she said, "You know what, Dad? They did a really nice job." So, thanks, everybody. Thank you.
In the construction of these parks, it does take a village to put them together. And I'd like to acknowledge our staff that are here that were involved in the construction, design, and preparation of the site. So we have Bruce Martinez, Deputy Director. You can raise your hand, Bruce. Marilyn Stern, District Manager. Alex Davis, Area Manager. Of course, Shamli Tarbell has done a yeoman's job here. Thank you, Shamli. Richard Kreider and Stephen Fong, Center Directors here in Clairemont. Luke Costa, Assistant Center Director. Jaime Diaz, Grounds Maintenance Manager. Tim Graham, Supervising Public Information Officer. And the grounds maintenance workers, Tyler Schaefer, Jackie Green, Matt Wilson, Brian Campbell, Anthony Buggs, John Hendricks, and Bill McClurg. Gentlemen, raise your hand back there. These are the guys that make it happen back there. Every day, day in and day out, they're here cutting the grass, inspecting the playground, and making sure your parks are kept clean here in Clairemont. So hats off to you guys. Thank you. So with that, I think we are really close now to opening up the nature exploration area. What I'd like to do now is to invite Principal Romero to come forward and share with us a few safety tips about using the facility. Even though we had heard it said that the city will accept all liability, that's not really the case. We want to make sure everybody plays safely today, okay? So with that, Ms. Romero, floor is yours.
All right. Are we ready to play? Yeah! Okay. So as we stand up and go over there, I'll tell you when it's time. I want you to be thinking about the space around you because there's a couple things to look for. So the first thing to look for is there's a trail that was created. And part of the reason why the trail was created was to give space for the new plants. So what Farmer Judy and I were talking about this morning is, since this is so new, there are a lot of newly planted plants. That means they were taken from their pot and put into the ground. And we know that when plants are brand new and just put into the ground, they're a little more delicate. So what we're asking you, especially today and while they're growing, is that we stay away from the new plants to give them a chance to get their roots solid and make sure that they can grow into healthy plants. So that next year when you're playing, it's not going to be a big deal if somebody accidentally steps on one. But right now, if we accidentally stepped on one, it would be a big deal. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the other thing to consider is there's lots of things to jump on top of and climb under and play with, but you also need to make sure that we are playing safely. Right? So make sure that you're being aware of where you are and where your friends are so that everybody stays safe. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Do you feel like you're ready to explore it? Yeah. Farmer Judy, did I miss anything?
I think they're ready.
Okay.
They're ready.
All right. We got to cut the ribbon so that we can do it. All right. We asked for a couple of volunteers. We have...
I just know we're gardeners. We know how to use sharp things.
To decide how many children maybe in front they can be, or behind, or something like that.
We're going to take a few
Let's even get a few more children into the...
Hugo needs this pair of scissors.
We're gonna do some
This is some serious scissor power right here, guys.
It is.
They don't have these at school, do they? Wow, right?
So like right she knows how to use them. She's a gardener. The post, yep. And then 2 over here.
All right.
There's more.
Very cool.
Oh.
You ready? Yeah.
Hold on, can we just smile first or something? Yeah.
Once you hold this week.
We will cut on the count. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, okay?
Smile, don't cut. Smile. Okay.
1,
Ready?
2, 3.
There you go.
All right, all scissors.